Here's how to get rid of squatters in just one day. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go to Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart, and you're gonna buy a biohazard goggles. You're gonna go to the door and knock and say, you have a biohazard inspection scheduled for today, and you need all occupants out as you secure the area. When they leave the property, you or a handyman is gonna come through and board everything up, change the locks, and that's how you're gonna get them out of the property. Do not do that, okay? Do not do that. I heard of a guy who actually does that and it did work, but I highly recommend you do not do that. That is illegal. Unfortunately, squatters have rights, but here's how you really can get them out legally in one day. If you're behind on your mortgage, if you're facing foreclosure, if you have an inherited home, you don't know what to do with, if you have a home that needs repairs, send it our way. We would love to give you a same-day cash offer. You're gonna go to the house and you're gonna knock on the door and you're gonna do what's called cash for keys. Tell them that they need to immediately move out of the house and they're gonna get evicted anyway, because you have legal rights to this property. So they can do it the easy way, which is cash for keys. You're gonna pay them to leave, or you're gonna go through the eviction process. Now, the eviction process can take anywhere from 30 to 60 days. You have to go to court, you have to get a judge involved. So cash for keys is a faster way to do it. Now, here's how to pay them the least amount of money possible. Most people who are squatters, they don't have money anyway, so they should be happy to get any money. What I would do is first I would say, hey, how much would it take for you to move? Ask them 4 different times and you want them to give you a number. People who don't have a lot of money, $500 or $1,000 can be considered a lot of money to them. Hopefully that's all they ask for. If they don't give you a number, then you can start with a number. The minimum I would start with is $500 and work your way up. Stay at the property until you get a number, and they must leave same day. Don't say, oh, I'll leave tomorrow or I'll leave in a few weeks. Tell them in order to get this money, they have to leave today. Once you get that number of how much it would cost for them to leave, you can perhaps do stuff like help them move their stuff just to get them out of the property. Let's say you agree to $1,500, get it in writing, make sure they sign off on leaving the property. And as soon as they leave, make sure you change the locks and you board up the property. You want to have this all documented. And that's going to be the fastest way that you can get squatters to move out same day. Now, the max amount that I would be willing to offer the squatters to leave, depending on my time frame, is the cost of an eviction, which could be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500, okay? If it's gonna cost you more than what it's gonna be to legally evict them, then might as well go through the eviction process if you're not in a time crunch. Now, what if you don't have any money to move? Maybe you just inherited the house, it was vacant, and you got squatters. One thing you can do is you can ask an investor. Somebody who's gonna buy the property might be willing to do the eviction for you. Matter of fact, we're dealing with the situation right now. It's an ex-mother-in-law situation. She's refusing to leave the property, so we have to go through the eviction process. So our company is actually paying for the eviction process to get the mother-in-law out, and then we're gonna go ahead and buy the property and close on it with our investors. So that's what I would recommend for you. Find an investor. That's how you're gonna get the squatters out of your property. And also, if you don't have money for cash for keys, the investor is most likely gonna be willing to pay for that. Now, how do you find an investor? If you have a property that you inherited or it's distressed, you've probably already got letters in the mail, calls on the phone of people trying to reach you to buy your property. I recommend talking to a minimum of 3 people and getting 3 different bids and seeing who can help you the best. Now, to choose the right investor, go to Google, make sure they have a website, make sure they have Google reviews, and make sure they come off as a legitimate company. Another way to find investors is simply go to Google and say house cash buyers near me or sell my house fast near me. That's going to get you investors that are going to pop up. Check their reviews. Another thing you can do is go to Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups. And another thing you can do is call a local realtor. Now, in my experience, a lot of realtors are used to dealing with regular houses, not fixer-uppers, so they might not know investors, but that is a good place to start. However, the great debate, should you go with a realtor to sell your property or should you sell it directly to an investor? Depending on the condition of the property, if it's a fixer-upper, a true fixer-upper, I would say go with an investor because the realtor is going to find that same investor, but now there's a realtor fee involved. But if you go directly to an investor, you can save some money. Now, the benefit of a realtor is they can negotiate for you, they're going to know the market better, and they can potentially get you more for your property.